Howdy, fellas. I'm the Militant Horse, and I'm pretty sure y'all all know about the 1.14 Village and Pillage update that added stuff such as the pillager outposts and all that really cool stuff. But I was wondering, what if there were pillager and illager villages? So, let's get right into that. Okay, so basically, I had this idea while playing on a server with my buddy Mike that there would be these little outposts, these little like villages run by illagers, the little evokers and those guys. And I was figuring, you know what? I kind of want to build some of these ideas for the village. And I started going, and I was like, you know what? I think I'll do a little video on this. So this is something that I think it'd be cool to see in the game, an actual Illager village. It'd be something that's a little more common than the woodland mansions. You could actually run into these little Illager settlements, which would have a lot of really nice loot at times and would be really fun to just kind of explore around. So the first thing we have here is just a regular house. This would be, just one of the typical townhouses. It looks pretty standard. It's kind of like a mix between the taiga biome village and the like plains village. But on the inside, yeah, it's still pretty similar. You see, you got a chest. It have some stuff like an iron axe, some bread, paper. Just typical ordinary loot. Next, you would have Vindicator House. Now, these are the guys that run at you in the mansion with the big axes and stuff. So I figured they would get something a little bit bigger. So you'd have a chest, for example. It could have a bunch of this stuff like some mushroom stew, some bread, maybe a saddle or two, some iron, some paper, maps or something. Of course, you go upstairs, there'd be another chest that would have some other stuff in it, and you got a little furnace right up here. Just maybe just a little house, for vindicators and stuff. Maybe have like one or two vindicators that would spawn inside. The next house, which is one that I'm not too proud of its design, but I think it actually looks pretty good, is the Evo Kurz House. Now, the Evoker, of course, as we all know, is that one creepy-looking mob that he pretty much raises his hand and he can have all these little, like, magic spells happen. So, I was figuring maybe I'd give something more mysterious to his house. You enter and you get this little foyer area and you got these few chests and stuff. You're looking around and you can go this way, you go in here. You'd probably run into a few vindicators while you're exploring these back rooms around the house. So you'd have chests that would have like lots of loot in them in the back. Now, I think what would be the most impressive thing about this house, if I can get up there, is the upstairs area, the spellcasting area, the big open area. You see, you'd have this little pedestal right here, and in these chests you could have some cool stuff. Like you could have these enchanted books and stuff, maybe an enchanted axe, and on a very rare occasion, maybe a totem of undying. Because the evoker is the only way, of course, to get the totem of undying in the game. So I figured that would be really fun. You could have like an evoker and you'd have like a little duel with him. Very tight, cramped space. So you'd be able to you'd have to kind of stay away from him, keep your distance. But of course it's not exactly too open, so you can't just like sit away from him and just pelt him with bows and arrows. So the next one is the one I'm the most proud of, is the Illusioner Tower. Yeah, this one's honestly a pretty cool looking building. I actually spent a little bit of time on this one, trying to think of a design that would work. I was originally thinking of doing like this gigantically tall tower, like something that goes like, no, probably not really here, but something that ends probably about maybe here. And I was like, yeah, it's not exactly a good idea. So with the tower itself, of course, you'd have this little cellar area, and, you'd want to go down, but look, you can't, because there would be a iron gate in the way. And the Illusioner is a mob that, it's an illager that doesn't really get used a lot, because there's really no way to spawn it. You have to summon it with a command, and so I figured if they decide to add illusioners to the game, this would be a perfect place for them. You'd go up the tower, and you'd come up here to where the illusioner is or something. Or maybe the illusioner would be down in the cellar. It really doesn't matter. You could get like a key or something from one of these chests up here, maybe take a potion stand while you're at it, and then you'd go down and then you could enter into the cellar, probably fight a few Vindicators maybe, or the illusioner, and get some pretty sweet potions or loot off of them. The next one is not exactly as impressive. It's the Pillager Barracks, which I had an idea, pillagers, they of course go on constant scouting missions. They're always out in the wilderness looking for villagers and players to hunt down, so it would be reasonable to have them have a barracks, someplace where they could stay as they train to become pillagers. So, of course, this would be the only place in the Illager village that would have actual beds. Really just this. You probably have a bunch of pillagers or something like littered within here. I didn't place any chests down, but I'm pretty sure there could be some that would be added that have stuff like just some simple weapons, iron axes, and maybe a sword or two. Maybe a crossbow as well. But yeah, I'm actually really proud of this one as well. It's not very spectacular looking, but I think it looks pretty nice for what it is. So the next one is the Pillager HQ, and do mind the fact that it doesn't look very even. I'm not the greatest when it comes to building, like, I don't know the term for it, but I think Pillager HQ would be a pretty cool addition, because the pillagers, you can't tell me that a pillager just wanders out and they just know where they're going to go, and then they just set up an outpost, and you can't tell me that they have an outpost but no base of operations. So I was figuring a pillager HQ in like one or every like few in a few Illager villages would be pretty cool. Of course, you get a few chests within the village. You could get stuff like flint and steel, crossbow, saddle, just your typical stuff. And then you'd have to go upstairs. You'd be fighting off pillagers as you're going up. And if I can get in the doorway, you'd go fight through here, fight a few more Vindicators, and you'd get up to the captain's quarters, which is where you could fight like a captain or so. And of course, it's got the cartography table because, of course, you have to make the maps somewhere. I'm pretty sure they don't just spawn maps, but you have a few empty maps, maybe a few already used maps or something. I think this would honestly be a pretty cool addition, because the pillagers have to have a base of operations. You can't convince me that the pillagers just magically know where they're going. Like, I'm pretty sure an outpost isn't just set up without any knowledge of the area. So they'd have to have an HQ to relay something if we're talking realistic. So, but yeah, that's the Pillager HQ. I think it honestly looks pretty good for what it is. Next, we come to one of the final buildings. It's the Ravager Stable, and the description of the Ravager on the Minecraft wiki pretty much says it's a mix between a cow and it's pretty much just a cow with anger issues. And I was like, yeah, you know what? It has a stable on it, so a lot of pillagers or illagers ride the Ravagers like horses, so it'd be obvious they would have them in a stable or something. So I didn't add any chests here, but I'm pretty sure you could there would probably be a chest or so outside that would have like just some hay, some leads, maybe a saddle or two, just a few things, that you'd probably expect at a stable. And last but not least, we have the Iron Golem prison. So you know how outside of those pillager outposts, they often have of course, the little Iron Golem trapped outside in a little jail cell. Well, I figured this would be a pretty cool implemented idea, because you would basically have to get into the prison with a button. Let me see if I can find one real quick. I'll just use a lever. You'd pretty much have to get into the prison, and there'd be 4 iron golems in the way. So what you could do is you could free them, make a hole big enough for them to get out, and then you'd have your own little personal army. All in the meantime, you're fighting off pillagers who are up here, trying to make sure you don't leave and stuff. And of course, there'd be some loot up in these, you know, if you just your standard fare. Not really that bad of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of my idea for a pillager like prison or so. Honestly, it could be repurposed to be a lot bigger and stuff, but I figured kind of this small body of an outpost style would work really well for a prison. Of course, you have these little stairs in the back for them to just like get down and up, and that way they don't have to like stay in the bottom of the prison. They have these open areas they can shoot at you from if you're near. So well, yeah, so that's pretty much my overall idea for a pillager village. And I honestly think this would be something that'd be pretty interesting to see in Minecraft. It would just help add a lot to the exploration value because you already don't run into pillagers enough, and it takes like near goddamn forever to find a to find a woodland mansion. So this would be certainly something very fun to have in the game that would really kind of increase the exploration factor. Maybe give a little bit of lore, I guess, to the pillagers because I honestly like the pillagers. I think they're a really cool addition to Minecraft, having exiled villagers and stuff. And I'm not really sure if the style is very Mojang-esque. I took kind of a mix of the Plains village and the Taiga village with the rooftop styles. Um, I was struggling forever to really find a good working style for them, but I honestly think that this would work really well for the Minecraft village like setting, the whole like rival villages and stuff. You have a pillager village that you could take over, and of course you could make into your own and stuff. You could make it as your own little repurposed town that I mean, it wouldn't have a lot of villagers and stuff, so you wouldn't really have to worry about protecting. You could just kill off all the pillagers and illagers and stuff, and then you'd kind of be in the clear, you know? You wouldn't really have much to worry about. So, anyway, guys, I think that would be kind of a cool concept. If you guys agree, you know, just leave a like in the description. Oh well, what the hell am I saying? Yeah, if you guys think that this would be a cool addition to Minecraft, then leave a comment. Leave a like if you liked it. Just kind of, you know, comment, subscribe, do whatever you really think you have to. I'm a Militant Horse, and yeah, I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.